Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California. He's chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and he's a member of the January 6th Select Committee and served as the lead impeachment manager for the first impeachment trial of Donald Trump in the Senate. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Mr. Chairman. There was an amazing amount of detail today from William Barr about all sorts of investigating that FBI agents were doing around the country, including in Georgia, because the President of the United States was upset with the election result. And so we see the Attorney General calling the U.S. Attorney in Georgia to talk about certain things, and then he talks about this election. And then suddenly FBI agents are going to investigate election workers in Georgia and ask them questions because the president is perturbed. Now, the Attorney General reports back to the president that there's nothing there. But we saw all of the machinery of the Justice Department going to work for this president in the aftermath of the election.
Well, Lawrence, that's right. And I remember at the time that the Attorney General said that he was going to look into these allegations, having serious questions about whether the department was doing this only because the president wanted the department to do it and to give some kind of substance to these bogus claims of fraud. And I was particularly struck, I have to say, by the Attorney General's comments in that clip you just aired, where he was relating how he told the president that the Justice Department wasn't an extension of his legal team. Well, when he intervened in Roger Stone's sentencing and when he intervened to make the case against Michael Flynn go away, he certainly seemed to be an extension of the president's legal team. But like so many people, Lawrence, in the Trump administration, they reached a point, and Bill Barr got there very late, but he got there, where he could go no further to support the immoral acts of this president. So he drew a line. Now, it was very late coming, but I'm glad it came when it did. But yes, it was very controversial, even what he did do in investigating these claims without really more than the president's badgering as a primary motivation.
Earlier tonight in our coverage, Rachel Maddow was making the point to me about the references to the Georgia investigation and to specifically this with former U.S. Attorney Pack, who then there was this sudden and dramatic resignation that we didn't understand at the time. In the aftermath of this election, he was suddenly out of there. And Rachel specifically asked me to ask you if that is actually going to be a subject of future hearings. That are we going to hear more about U.S. Attorney Pack and how he left, and more generally about the Georgia investigation?
It's a great question, Lawrence, and I'm not in a position where I could tell the answer yet. We certainly have more information about the circumstances in which he was forced out of office or forced out prematurely, but I can't comment into whether and at what point we'll be sharing that. I do think that this whole issue of the president's claims about Georgia and, of course, other states, the degree to which when he didn't get the answers he wanted, his impulse was always to try to get rid of people, to get rid of this U.S. attorney, to get rid of the attorney general. Of course, there was the whole entertaining of the scheme to put Jeffrey Clark in the position of attorney general when he couldn't get the other leadership to do it. So this is a president who would basically fire people when they wouldn't follow his corrupt instructions.
Chairman Thompson indicated earlier tonight that it seemed like he had decided not to make any criminal referrals to the Justice Department. After that became public, Liz Cheney tweeted, the January 6th Select Committee has not issued a conclusion regarding potential criminal referrals. We will announce a decision on that at an appropriate time. What is your understanding about that?
Well, I think Liz is right. We have from time to time, I think in ones and twos, talked with each other about this issue, but we haven't really had a full committee discussion, let alone reached a resolution on it. And this is the kind of decision we need to make as a committee. So I'm confident we will make that decision at the appropriate point and weigh all the equities. We obviously have a different responsibility than the Justice Department, but there are appropriate times where we do make criminal referrals. We make them when people are in contempt of Congress, but even more broadly than that, we have on occasion made referrals where we have discovered evidence that we think a crime has been committed, and that should be related to the Justice Department. So I think it's still very much a matter for the committee to deliberate and decide at the appropriate point.
I want to take a look at Trump campaign lawyer Alex Cannon and his testimony about a conversation he had with Vice President Pence that he described. Let's listen to this conversation he had with Vice President Pence.
He asked what I was doing on the campaign, and I told him that, we were looking into some of the issues related to voter fraud. And he asked me, I don't remember his exact words, but he asked me if we were finding anything. And I said that I didn't believe we were finding it, or I was not personally finding anything sufficient to alter the results of the election. And he thanked me. That was our interaction.
That is quite a contrast between the vice president and the president to the same information.
It absolutely is. Here the vice president is asking, what have you learned? He gets an answer. He thanks the person for their answer. Of course, you got a very different reaction from Donald Trump, as Attorney General Barr indicated, when Attorney General Barr said that he found no there effectively. And Donald Trump obviously wouldn't take that for an answer. And we see this played out time and time again. I think Barry Burke, who you just spoke with, had it exactly right. Donald Trump is guided by two things: his personal interest, his financial interest. Anything that comes into conflict with, he won't accept. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't know fact from fiction. I think it means that he is just going to state it as he would like it to be, disregard any contrary information, lie if he needs to, lie if it helps him. And frankly, I think in Trump world, in his mind, anyone who doesn't lie like he is just a sucker and a loser.
Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you very much for joining us after your very busy day. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.